Hello, and welcome to this video in which I talk a little bit about intelligence. I have some clangy bracelets on today that I hope make some nice noises. I was gifted a pencil bracelet that I've now added to my daily bracelets. So, intelligence. My impression is that I typically encounter people who underestimate their own intelligence or, have some self-deprecation about it and overestimate other people's intelligence, or at least estimate it generously and estimate it in a particular kind of category. So estimating other people's intelligence as like scholastic or academic or, institutionally legitimate intelligence. But I wanted to talk about something because it's occurred to me genuinely that I feel confident that if I were to sit down and have dinner or something with like a nuclear physicist or, fill in the blank big words, fill in the blank big word, job title, profession title, or credential. If I were to sit down, and I can't do simple multiplication. I cannot tell you the tip on a bill at a restaurant. If I were to sit down and have dinner with somebody who is like let's say a quantum physicist, okay? I think we'd have a really good dinner. And it is not because I know anything about that. I asked somebody, I asked someone if Wales was a country. So take that word intelligence and open up the little doors to see what's actually inside of it. Good luck finding bits, measurable bits, that you can say if you have XYZ things or no XYZ things, then you're intelligent. Like intelligence is something that you can have or not have is a question that doesn't make any sense to me, because the quantum physicist and me would be able to have a good dinner, and I think they could walk away even having learned something from me, or at least gained something such as a good evening. Is because I have my own life, I live in my own life, I make creative choices, and I'm able to offer something that is uniquely me. Some style of communication or some content. And I have a curiosity and I'm open, and I've lived a life. I haven't been asleep for all of it. And so I think I would just be talking to another human being and they'd be talking to me. I think anyone who thinks I'm smart could sit down and talk to me, and I could talk to them. And they could just be on another planet, and I would walk away having learned so much from people. I learn so much from other people all the time. And thank goodness, because I don't think intelligence is something that you can have or not have, and this thinking on it as something, a quantity, and intelligence is in quantities, and that it's an object at all. So it's an object that has features and can be had in some measurable way. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think that's right, and I don't think that's how it works. I made a video, it was about types of intelligence, and that's always really fun because I don't think that's necessarily all the way right either. Is is that there are types with an S, and these things are clean categories, because then we're back to it's an object and you can have it in quantity or not. But I like thinking about the types of intelligence because it's the first step down a more generous road to thinking about cognition and being alive, and intelligence as a way that we can describe life manifesting, and a way that we can describe creativity and creation. So I like this generous road. I like the generous road to starting to think about intelligence differently. And sometimes I do get asked certain questions that relate to how to become more intelligent, or how to, I guess, flex your brain or use your brain, etc., etc. And I think the best way to answer that is that you have to just get on with it. You have to just get on with life, living life. Essentially, you just have to live life. And you can read books, that's great, and read a lot, and you can go live life, with your actions, and go have relationships and stuff, and be present and think and be creative and just get on with it. And you have to do that. You have to have content of experience and have emotions and feelings about that, so you can emote. One of the best books I've read recently is this book, Ways of Being, by James Bridle. This thing's a slam dunk, by the way. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. The author, they're basically talking about this kind of rationalist version of science that we've had for a long time. And people like, we think of Jane Goodall, somebody who just goes out in the world. There's books, there's science that you can read, but somebody who just goes out into the world, into nature, and does it. You just have to do it, and you go live it. And that, of course, becomes new science, and that becomes new conclusions. But, that type of intelligence is gained through experience and living, and getting on with, chimpanzees, going to be around creatures and seeing nature for how it's manifesting in front of you, not some inherited, canon of literature, not some rules or prior observed phenomena, which is being filtered through a specific cognition. So people who are looking at nature through paradigms. If you go out in nature and you look at how nature manifests in front of you, you might be looking at it through a paradigm that will influence your conclusions. But maybe your paradigm is novel and creative, and then you're seeing something manifested in a way that's more generous to the thing itself, and leads to what we know is a better understanding of what's going on, reality. This book is about many things, but that's just one part of it that I really resonated with, is looking at intelligence as a field of interactions that kind of take place. Very hard to define, but that the way that we think about intelligence itself as a concept really can limit our ability to do things on planet Earth, and our ability to understand life, including human life, robustly. And if we open our understanding, our conception of intelligence, we start to see incredible potential and beauty and all kinds of things in the natural world, and maybe even start to get at this thing that we call reality. Because he makes a great point. If we think plants are lifeless and stupid and not anything, okay, or now we know that plants are incredible communicators and seem to be signaling in all kinds of novel ways. The reality is, those plants were always doing that. They've been doing that. We've just had a paradigm that plants are stupid and that the human brain is the center of consciousness, cognition, and intelligence. That stops you from seeing what's always been there. And when you take a special person, this woman, I can't remember her name, she wrote The Mother Tree. You know what? She's one person amongst many scientists who went out in the world with new eyes and saw something that we're not supposed to see and doesn't match with what science tells us about things. And it's a generous way of looking at the world. It's a bit more realistic, actually. And now there's all kinds of things to discover because now we're open to it and curious about plants and about the way that the world is actually working. I think getting on with it then as an animal with a brain and going out in the world, that becomes the ultimate act of intelligence, is staying open and being open. If you do not know the names of all the US states, that's not intelligent. That's not stupidity. That's fine. You have other things to do, clearly. If you cannot do multiplication, that is not being stupid. You have other things to do. In school, probably blew. In math class, probably sucked. And maybe you were looking at the sky instead of learning how to multiply. No big deal. You're alright. The sin against intelligence is dogma. That's the sin. That's like to try and be seeing the world through a little closed fist. How much more stupid can you get? That's stupid. You open it up a little bit. Oh, look. I can see things. That's intelligence. Now get to looking, go outside. Do your thing. I think trying to see the world through a closed fist is stupidity. And I think that's how I understand intelligence. I think if I was sitting across at a dinner table, and I was having dinner with a quantum physicist who sees the world, is very good at what they do, but sees the world through a closed fist. I'm talking to an idiot. What can you do? If I'm sitting across from somebody, anybody, with any credential, who cares? If they see the world through, the open hands, and everything is allowed to come in, sit in an open palm like that, not crushed, just held, then I'll probably have a good time. I'll probably have a good conversation. And we'll probably both walk away having learned something because we're two intelligent people meeting up, hopefully eating pasta. So when I get people asking me about how to be smarter or something, I tried to get at this in my syllabus video. I don't think I did the best job in that video, but trying to make a study curriculum or a syllabus for yourself to learn, to gain knowledge. For some people, being that disciplined and choosing these external things to learn in an order might work. For me, it does not, because learning is happening organically as I'm alive. I could plan to research steamships because, yes, that interests me, and I would love to know. But if that's not where I'm at, if my cognition is, and my soul, my whole being, is snagged on an interaction I saw between two women in which one woman brutally rejects the other woman, I need to go on a deep dive, and I'm going to be snagged on fiction, I'm going to be snagged on books, I'm going to be looking at the way in which human beings interact for a second. And steamships, they weren't called down from the ether into my life through narrative. They remain in abstract interest. Things have to be called as I live life and I get on with it. And as I get on with it, because I'm so interested in it, I end up padding my experiences with books or movies or conversations with people, and that adds a lot of metaphor into my life, a lot of analogy, and that kind of fuels creativity. And sometimes maybe I'll make a video about it, or I'll make a art piece, or I'll write some essay or fiction about it. And so a syllabus, I might choose to say I really want to learn about female friendships. I'm like all about this right now. Let me watch Frances Ha, the movie. And then I have a bit content. Now I'm in the world of a unit of content. This is, Alex's unit 2.5, female friendships. Here's some books, here's some movies, because I'm obsessed with processing something that I saw. So I tried to get at that in my syllabus video, thinking that these are my interests that have arisen organically, and I will fill in the blanks as I live life. And I see this movie or that book, whatever. And that abstract learning, picking out something and learning it, tends to not happen. When I force myself to go into abstract land, I tend to not remember very much, and I lose interest and motivation. I think intelligence is lived, it's embodied, it's something it is what it is. It's not necessarily something that you can't have. I actually think that we all have it, and it's latent in life, and I think the world has it. It's just a feature. When we describe it, we're describing life. But I think you can betray it, and I think you can throw it away and not honor it and, sin against it, because I'm being in Aries and I'm being hyperbolic. But I think you can sin against it, and you can throw it out the window and look at the world through a little tight closed fist, and then you're an idiot. I don't think anyone's born an idiot. I think all of life is smart and intelligent, and everybody is intelligent. I've said that before. People, human beings, are incredibly smart, and I could sit with almost anyone and learn anything, unless they've chosen to be an idiot and be hateful and not open and scared and whatever they needed to sign on so that they could feel safe. Then I'm probably not going to learn anything. But someone with an open mind I can learn from, and you're smart. Anyway, this is just a quick little video I wanted to make while this topic was on my mind, and the sun's kind of going down, and I was just thinking about it. And this book's really, really good. Ways of Being. I recommend this book if you are open-minded and you're interested in hope and positivity and, want the world to change, be more generous and more compassionate to people and plants and animals and what have you. I recommend this book, Ways of Being by James Bridle. Just fantastic. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this kind of mini ramble. It might not be mini, it might be like a full-length video. We'll see, I guess. But I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope if you ever find yourself questioning your intelligence, that this and all of life can reassure you that we are all very, very smart. Nothing is born stupid. We are born with what we need. And it's just about living and enjoying and feeling all the emotions, not repressing anything, open hand, feeling everything. Live the thing and get on with it. And that's intelligence. So, thank you for watching. I will see you very, very soon. Good night if you are going to sleep. And if not, then good